Goodacre there to help us coach. He helped with all kinds of things, and I'll let him tell you what his job there was. So as I was leaving to go back to running schools, to running high schools, Mr. Goodacre was coming in to help that university coach. So we crossed paths briefly. So he got to coach some people who played in the NFL. They're currently still in the NFL. Some people that have since retired from the NFL, and a bunch of very famous college coaches. We were talking at lunch about all the college coaches that later went on to make 10 times what I make now, get to coach football. So he's going to tell you about his story. I want you to be respectful, try to make eye contact the whole time, and listen. And at the end, he's going to let you ask all the questions you want to ask. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So what I want you to listen for is his story, and the things that he has seen and he has done, and see if there's some things that are similar to what you've seen and you've done. Does that make sense? Just to try to the whole time think, oh, I've seen that and I've heard that, or I know about that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And I'm going to ask now that if you're sitting next to someone who you're going to talk to or touch, that you move seats between you. Okay? Because if I have to do that while the speaker's going, it's going to be a different sort of behavior consequence. Okay? So now, if you need to move, move now. But be respectful the whole time while Mr. Goodacre's talking to us. Does that make sense? Good choice, Caleb. Thank you, buddy. Actually, there's no room there. So yeah, skip a row. Are you okay there? Okay. Are you guys okay up there? Okay. Mr. Goodacre, welcome to Maplebrook School.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hayes. Thank you, Dr. Lloyd. Thank you, Maplebrook School, for inviting me today. I am very excited to be here. I've had a great time this morning. Had a great tour with Lindsay. Thank you for the tour. I got to meet a lot of you guys, learn more about the school, and I'm very excited to speak with you guys today. For those who may not know me, I am currently a financial management analyst and slash program analyst in my full-time job. I went to Shepherd, as Mr. Hayes has mentioned, and I have also written a book called Tackling Dyslexia and Learning Disabilities, a memoir. So as I go through my presentation, I will talk about my entire life, pretty much how it's going to relate to you guys, because just to show that you guys can be successful as well, despite the obstacles that you all face. So for this presentation, I'm going to have you guys look up here. Excuse me, sorry. I'm going to go a little bit about myself. I'm going to talk about the school I went to, the lab school at Washington, from second grade through high school, and how they helped me with my learning disabilities and dyslexia, and how I became an adult. I'll talk about my first job, because I know that some of you guys here go through an internship of sorts and job placement, so good idea to see that. I'll explain who my role model was and why that person was so important to me. And then I'll go into what my life was like in college. I go Shepherd for undergrad, and then Georgetown University in DC for my grad school. And then I'll talk about my employment history of what it's like to transition from college into the workforce full time. Then we'll get into my book, and at the very end, I will allow you guys to ask me questions. So a little bit about me, as I mentioned, I am from the DC area, Imesville, Maryland, born and raised, which is a little bit southwest of Frederick. For those who are not familiar with the area, it's about an hour west of Baltimore, an hour northwest of Washington, DC. As I said, I went to Shepherd for undergrad, Georgetown for grad school. I'm a big sports fan, definitely the coach as well. So I use a lot of sports as like my way to relate to the everyday world, and we'll see that throughout the entire presentation as I've played, watched, coached, did some sports radio at Shepherd for a little bit, and also I was involved with the Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts, and I'll touch on that later on as well. As you can see here, there are some photos of me, and throughout the presentation you will see photos of me from different times of my life, so it can also relate to you guys. So here's some photos. On the left side, upper corner, was my Eagle Scout project. I rebuilt a retaining wall at my church after a church fire a couple years earlier. So the Eagle Scout and Boy Scouts is the highest award that anyone can have. So that was my project. You need to do a certain project to help your community in the process. Got some pictures of me when I was in high school, playing sports, close friends, golf tournament for Shepherd football at one point in the bottom right. Next slide, please. So now, the lab school of Washington is in a way similar to you guys here. The lady here in the bottom corner, her name is Sally Smith. She created the school. when she had 3 young boys. Her youngest son, Gary, had dyslexia. And at the time in the DC area, there was not many schools that had a program like that to treat students with learning differences. So she created her school, started very small, around 8 to 10, and then over time has now grown to about 350, 375 students, and they're still in the DC area. So I went there from 2nd grade through high school. When I was very young, I struggled in the public school setting, as well as a small private school where they did everything that could help me, just was not enough. So I went to this school, a very well-healthy life. So I went there for 11 years, starting in elementary and intermediate, which is essentially up through 6th grade. In that time period, they had a curriculum that was set up through the arts, as we call it the power of the arts, where you can do dance, drama, workshop, regular art classes, and just to like help with the brain functioning and keep things going throughout the day. Because we would do structured academic classes in the morning, and in the evening or afternoon, excuse me, to do the arts, PE, and it was a really cool curriculum that was set up through that. When I was in junior high, which is our 7th and 8th grade programs, I was a 2-time National Geographic state level champion where they had, so essentially it was a state level, then a school, state, and national level, so you have to represent the school on a state level twice. That was a lot of fun. In the 8th grade, I went to the Grand Teton Science School, which is a weekly trip to Wyoming. Had a great experience learning science and other natural resources in national parks. And this is where we started to play sports. I was on the first soccer team on the boys' side in the junior high. Played basketball, made 2nd team on conference my 8th grade year. And then I did some volunteering at a local organization called So Others Might Eat, or SOME. It helps with homeless people in the DC area who cannot afford meals, so we give out meals and other programs in that regard. In the high school program, 9th through 12th grade, I was on student council for 3 years, twice as a class rep and once as a treasury representative. Was in the diversity club, again played more sports, was on the soccer championship team, our first one, and then I had a couple other individual awards there. And in our junior year, we had an internship program, which is what you guys kind of have here once you graduate from high school, where I worked at a local elementary school in the PE department, helping teach PE and then sports to elementary school kids. Here's some photos of me at my time at the lab school. Top left, 2nd grade year, which is my first year. You can see me there at the bottom right. Top middle is the my 5th grade class. I'm the kid at the very top, kind of like having fun, just trying to like go over everybody. 8th grade science trip to Grand Tetons in the top right. High school championship right there in the bottom left. Graduation in the center, and then my graduating class in the bottom right. So my first job, when I was a senior, we always had a senior trip. So our senior trip was to Disney World in Orlando, Florida. Has anyone here been to Disney World or Land?
Yes.
Quite a few. Awesome. So with that, I had to pay for my trip. And of course, when you had to go to places, you had to earn some money. So my first job was at McDonald's as a 16-year-old here. And with that, I learned a lot about the customer service industry, how to work with people and customers. It was a good first step in the door to learn what it is like to work. It helped me establish a work ethic, and then I was working in the cashier, drive-through, and handle money, which are very valuable tools and stuff to learn. And especially as we got through the holiday season, it's very important to recognize going forward for you guys. The holiday seasons are always very busy and important, so sometimes they might be stressed. Always give them a lot of respect because they handle a lot of things going on throughout the year, especially during the holiday season. So now I want to go into who my role model is. As you all know, I love sports, and I always went to games as a kid with my parents and family and other friends. And when I was a very young kid, my parents had partial season tickets to the Baltimore Orioles. They were a baseball team in Baltimore, Maryland. And when I was very young, up through 5 years old, this man, Cal Ripken Jr., played for the Orioles. He was a very famous superstar and had a lot of cool things that came along with it. Has anyone ever heard of Cal Ripken before? Any raising hands? Okay, got a couple, not bad. So he played for the Orioles for 21 years, which is also his hometown team. He grew up about half an hour from Baltimore in Harvard Grace, Maryland, in Aberdeen. So he played for 20 years, was a World Series champion, 2-time American League MVP, and he has one record, as you can see here in the bottom right corner, where he played in 2,632 consecutive games, which is a major record where he broke the former Yankees superstar Lou Gehrig. And with that, he has this work ethic that is very well known, and for a lot of Mariners like myself, where we work very hard, this stood out to a lot of us. And because of that, this is who I have chosen to be my idol for my entire life. Currently, Mr. Ripken is a part of the Orioles ownership group. He also runs the Calverton Senior Foundation in his father's name, who was once an Orioles coach and former manager within the system. Next slide, please. So, and with this, here's some photos of Cal. He's in the Baseball Hall of Fame as well, as of 2007. I know someone mentioned you guys have gone to Cooperstown before, is that true? The Hall of Fame not too far from here?
We have.
Nice. So his plaque is definitely in Cooperstown. I've been there before in 2012. Got to see that and feel the Oriole Hall of Famers, which is really cool. Top right photo, it's Cal on the top right with his younger brother Billy, who also played for the Orioles for a short period, and Cal Sr. as the manager. This bottom row of photos definitely the most. So in 2001, my mom went to his last game, which are these 3 photos. As a 5-year-old who understood sports to a little bit, didn't fully understand what this one night was about at his last game, there was nearly 50,000 people there to say goodbye. I didn't realize how much the street and all the accolades meant to him as a 5-year-old. So as my mom came home that night, she showed me all these photos. These are not her photos, by the way, it's just for those who are wondering. But I was really fascinated, how can a guy be this well beloved that everyone wants to say thank you in all this? As I've done a lot of studying, there's a lot of things about him where I'm like, oh, this is really cool and I want to attach to it. He has a very famous quote that I really admire. And the quote is, as long as I can compete, I will not quit. So when times get hard, you can definitely keep working at it, and you will definitely, you can achieve it. So that's how I look at it that way. So going to Shepherd, this is a big step for me going from high school to college, because being in a special ed school, because I have dyslexia, reading comprehension, auditory processing, and I really struggled in tests and quizzes. So this is the big jump for me, going from, okay, you're now in a setting where we're going to help you with your accommodations, get you the things you needed, but now it is time for you to advocate for yourself as an adult out in the real world. So I chose Shepherd for one main reason, and then at the time, well, they still have it, is this thing called the academic common market. For those who are not aware of it, in the southeast of the United States, they have programs where a student from an out-of-state school can go from one state to the other. If they have your major, it's not offered in their public school system. So I wanted to do sports communication. So I wanted to do either like TV or radio for sports. I thought, hey, this is a cool idea. So when I found out about Shepherd, I was like, oh, this is originally priced. I can get out of here debt-free. This is my option. So I went to Shepherd, and then I studied sport communication for all 4 years. I had a lot of great times, met a lot of great people, great friends. I made the dean's list quite a bit, graduated as a McMurray Scholar. For those who are not aware, it's the top academic honor. I had a 3.5 GPA. And then I got to almost work with Mr. Hayes briefly, and then I joined the football program with Shepherd, as he had mentioned. And when that happened, I was a part of a magical 3-year run. In 2015, we played in the NCAA Division II championship, going 13-1, which was a new height for this program. A program that had a lot of historic success, as Mr. Hayes played a part of it too, from coaching and playing there. The next year, in 2016, we made it to the Final Four, one game short of going back national championship game. And then 2017, we were 10-1, made the playoffs again, we just fell a little short. Overall, went 36-3. As I coached, helped the offensive line, did laundry for the players before and after practices and games, did a lot of film. So this place is very special to me. And I had a lot of great help through the Disability Support Services office there at Shepherd for getting me in quiet rooms for test taking. I worked with our True Support Services, which work with students who come from learning disability backgrounds, first generation or low income backgrounds. They were the ones who really helped me get through academically at Shepherd, and I really kind of thank them a lot. When I started grad school, I did start at Shepherd, and I worked as a GA with the TRIO Upward Bound program, which worked with Berkeley County, West Virginia high school students who came from both low-income backgrounds and first generation, where they had no history of their parents or grandparents going to college. So I got to tutor, mentor them. It was very worthwhile and fulfilling. So as you see here, this is most of the football stuff at Shepherd. Top left photo, that is our biggest win in program history. In 2015, we beat a 4-time national championship, Grand Valley State. That's after the game we won. Those are my 3 conference championship rings, 15-17. Just a funny photo on the top right. Bottom left, that's in Kansas City for the title game in 2015, coming out of the tunnel. senior day, bottom middle, and then my first college game in 2015 at Western Union Wesley. And then here's some more academic stuff, top left. That was my senior day with my family. College roommates, top middle, my radio broadcaster at Shepherd as well there. Bottom of the photo is the Upward Bound from Trio. And a lot of those students I mentored and had to work with for a whole year was a lot of fun. And then graduation day in the bottom two photos there. So the sports industry is very hard, and having a master's degree definitely helps. So I was like, okay, I want to go and look in and see what I can do. So grad school was the next step. I decided with that, I want to stay local, so I decided to go to Georgetown University in DC. Georgetown is ironically 3 blocks from where I went to school for 11 years. So I was like, okay, I'm very familiar with the place, although our campus was more downtown, not on the actual main campus in Georgetown. So I knew that this was going to be how, if I want to get in the sports industry, this would be the best way to do it. So I did it for about 1.5 years, got through it. First half was before COVID. And then once COVID hit, we all went online, and then we get to finish out from there. But I learned a lot through my time there in the Georgetown School of Continuing Studies and the grad school program there. There were 3 things that we really learned about in this program. They are called return on objective, or the ROO, return on investment, obviously when it comes to money, and then sustainability, making things happen long term. And through this, I learned through a curriculum of students and faculty who came from various different backgrounds of life. Whether you were coming from a small school like myself, or a big school, public or private, how you played sports before or not, had you not, how you had experience in the industry. We had a lot of fascinating individuals who we learned from and we have to work with. So I was really appreciative of that. One of the coolest things during my time at Georgetown was in 2019, the Nationals had the World Series against the Astros. I got to volunteer for a night in a recycling initiative that Major League Baseball puts together. And it was a lot of fun and cool to learn. Here's some photos of my time at Georgetown. Top photos are, at the satellite campus in downtown. Top right is my family at a football game. My diploma bottom left, and then the commencement ceremony in the bottom middle, and then the recycling initiative here on the bottom right. All right, so we're gonna go through my employment history a little bit. So once college is over, some of this does overlap a little bit. So as we talked about earlier, I worked at McDonald's as a crew team member for a couple of years over the summer. When I was in college, I helped with the Navy on some engineering and science stuff. When I was in grad school at Georgetown, I also did a military bull foundation, ticket operation stuff where I sold tickets and helped with customer service in that regard. I forgot to mention this too, but my senior year at Shepherd, I did a internship at the Disney College program at the ES Memorial Sports Complex, where I did guest operations, got to work at Disney World, again, ironically, so that was a lot of fun. During COVID, I did work with the Health and Human Services during the COVID-19 response, helping local areas in the DMV in regards to, COVID response was like getting people meals, tracking data. I went on a detail to Philadelphia Airport during the Omicron variant in 2021, giving out free test kits to international travelers. So a lot of experience there. And then currently I am a federal employee, working on contracts, accepting and returning contracts, other program analyst stuff, as well as administrative tasks. What have I learned in my career so far? As I'm still relatively young as an adult, there's a lot of things I've learned. The big thing is you can go as far as you want in your career, but you must advocate for yourself at all times, whether there are things you need help with, or if you things you want to take on. Definitely be your best advocate, because if you want to go for it, shoot for the moon and go for it. Plain and simple. One of the things you're going to learn too about the workforce is networking. Networking will get you into places that a lot of doors cannot open for you. As you've heard the saying, it's who you know versus what you know. That is mostly true. There are some instances where if you're very knowledgeable, it won't work for you too, but just understand that being sociable and knowledgeable of people will go a long way too. Never be afraid to ask for help. We're all human. We're gonna have times where things are difficult. And I think people, for the most part, are very helpful and want to help you succeed. So there's that too. There are reasonable accommodations in the workforce. So for reasonable accommodations, it's basically you can work with your supervisor or HR to develop a plan where you can get the things that you need to help you in the workforce and be successful. That can vary. There's different needs and what the job is. So definitely would be good to think about going forward. One of the bigger things I've learned, especially, is work-life balance is going to be very critical in what you guys want to do. So, does anyone know what a work-life balance is? One, okay. So, what work-life balance is, pretty much, you obviously will work in the day, but then you have your things outside of work, where you don't have to focus on work. It's more of like helping you mentally get through your day. So, always having a good boundaries and structure is always good too, which I've noticed that you guys have a lot too. And it's very, very nice to see. When you're in the workforce, you will earn leave, annual and sick leave. It is okay to use them. There will be times where if you get work so much and don't take leave, there will be times when you use or lose, where you must take the leave or else you will lose the leave. That's why it's called use or lose. And there are times where if you're working at a place or a company where you feel burnt out, structured, or frustrated and want to try something new, it is okay to look for other places too. And as always, help yourself at your own cost. Here's some photos of, sorry about that. No, you're okay. So here's some photos of my time doing some things in the sports industry. Took a tour of ESPN headquarters in Bristol, which is not too far from here. That was the detail I did in Philadelphia when, during COVID. I was a bat boy for the Atlanta Braves during my time at Disney and ESPN. And then that's kind of my current role as a federal manager and analyst. So now I want to talk to you guys about my proudest accomplishment that I've ever done. So I wrote a book a couple years ago called Tackling Dyslexia, Learning Disabilities, Memoir. So I wanted to do this because a couple years ago I was going through some frustrations. Just, things were not going great. We were coming out of COVID, and I wanted to vent. So I decided, why don't I try and help somebody with this? Whether it's one person or many other people look into it, I'll give it a shot, see what happens. So this took about 2 years when you include writing, editing, and going through the publishing and advertisement timeline. So from May of 2021 to May of 2023, I published. This is the book that I wrote. It pretty much goes through my entire life in a nutshell, well, not nutshell, but expanded of what I have gone through from start to finish up to 2022. So I worked with a company called Bookbeta. They're a self-publishing company in New Jersey, just outside of Philly, and they helped me create this book from a physical standpoint, an ebook, and an audiobook version. And we will talk about the self-publishing process. It's very different from a traditional publishing standpoint.
Mr. Goodacre, would you like to pass it around? So
Absolutely, yes. If you can pass this around, that'd be great. Thank you. So yeah, definitely feel free to take a look inside and just see how I formatted it and what I wrote about. So by all means, take a look at it. So I kind of touched on this earlier in my last slide, but what it took, went through some frustrations. Decided to write this, in 2021, had the 2-year process of writing, editing, and advertising, and then it's a chronological of my entire life. So it starts at the very beginning of my life and then works all the way through to the very end part of it.
Ms. Familati?
And then, so I wanted to do the self-publishing route mostly because I want to have control of my story. When you go through traditional publishing, sometimes you're going to realize that everything you want to say might not be able to be, written about, and that's okay. But I wanted my story to be authentic, very valuable, and just I want to, because I think from my perspective, this is like it can be very valuable. There's not many other writings from a first-hand account of going through dyslexia or other things like that. So I think this would be helpful, because there are other academic researchers which are very powerful and very knowledgeable. But this is my way to say, hey, I can definitely add to the conversation and help you guys out in the process. And the main goal was to always help one person out. And if I did that, then it's a big success for me. So very grateful for that. So now we're going into the facts about self-publishing. It's an interesting industry. Most authors do go through this route because it takes a lot to be a traditional publisher nowadays, because you need to be very famous or very out there. So this is why I like to go this route. From 2017 to 2022, the industry has increased by 264%. It is a lot, and it's still growing. I don't have numbers from after that, but it's definitely going this route because for the regular publishing routes, it grows at only 1% per year. So this is more of a vehicle and a way to get people into the writing industry. There are over 300 million self-published books that are sold every year now because of physical copies like the one that you guys are seeing, ebooks, and audiobook versions. They all count to it. 30 to 34% of all world books, or all the books are ebooks. So essentially, if you have a computer or a tablet or a phone, that is considered an ebook as the electronic amount. Amazon is the world's biggest bookstore, and a lot of people use that as their driving force. So I used BookBaby as my company, but Amazon is a retailer to them, so it's also available there too. 31% of Amazon's ebook sales come from the self-publishing industry. The average self-published book in its entire lifetime sells only 250 copies, which honestly, it's a lot. But it may not seem like that, but as you can see here, 90% of them sell less than 100. If you want your book to succeed, it's going to vary on a couple of things. One, what is the genre of your book? Because like mine is self-help. The book company who you work for is going to be very important too, because sometimes things are not going to plan, so you put that into effect too. And then the average self-publisher makes about $1,000 per year from their books, and 33% makes less than 100. And then Word is rated by those facts about self-publishing. So that's more of what you guys would like to know if you want to get into writing books in the future. Here are some photos about my book stuff. Top left, that's when I went back to lab school. Spoke to them about a year and a half ago. I had a blast. My book was sold at the Shepherd University bookstore, so that was great. Top right photo, that is me when my books finally came in March of 2023, and I was very excited when they came through. It looks great. Another speaking engagement series I went to a couple years ago for the bottom left, and then I had a book signing at Shepherd too. These are the bottom right with a few people that I know very well who came out for me as well as my mom. So if you would like to purchase a copy of my book, you can scan this QR code on your phones or whatever tablet you have. It will take you to the publishing site as that best supports my work. So if you want to buy a book that's from me, that's the best way to do it. Book cover, back cover, as you guys are seeing when it's being passed around. And next slide, please. And if you want to reach out to me on LinkedIn, that is my contact, just my name. Twitter /X, same at my name. There you go. And that is going to be it. And if you have any questions, I will gladly take questions now. Yes, we'll start over here.
Me, right?
Yes, yeah.
Sorry. I have two questions. What team did you work for, like, coach for?
So I work for the Shepherd University Rams, which is a small Division II college in West Virginia.
And then, is your book only about dyslexia?
So mostly, yes. It's more about like my life and like with dyslexia, pretty much. Like I do talk about other learning disabilities in the very first chapters, like the way to set the whole book up and just work from there, and especially other research that I've found too. Thank you. We'll go right here in the second row.
What position did you play in basketball?
I was a shooting guard and small forward.
Oh.
Yes, right here.
What did you say? Say it one more time. What position?
Yeah.
You mean like his job?
Yeah.
Okay, she wants to know more about your job.
Okay, so I'm a financial management analyst in the federal government. So my day-to-day, I pretty much review contracts that come into us. So I look for, make sure they're accurate, make sure that the financial implications are good. So I review them. If we have contracts coming in, I'll accept them. If there's contracts that need to be returned back to the vendor, I'll do that too. So that is the main things I can talk about for my job. Yes.
How many positions did you play in basketball?
He just said two.
Yeah, so I played small forward and shooting guard. And I did some point guard, but mostly those two. Do you have another question?
What is your favorite position?
Favorite position for basketball is shooting guard. Any other questions? Yes, in the back.
Thank you, sir. This was amazing, very informative.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, and you mentioned you had tough days here and there, and
Yeah.
like we all do. Going through your learning challenge and having those tough days, what pushed you? What got you through those tough days?
That's a phenomenal question. Thank you for asking that. Having a big support system, whether it's my family, teachers, friends, always was the driving factors. I know that I'm not alone in the fact, but also like people, like I mentioned earlier when it was the workforce, people do generally want to help you. So I knew that was like a very warm thing to know too, because like, you know, some days are going to be better, some days are going to be worse, but you have to know that you got to post up every day and do the best you can. That's all I could really do. And you know, if there were results that I did not like to see that I was not doing, it made me work harder. That was the best thing I could definitely do to help myself in the end. But yeah, I think it's one thing that I took personally. Everyone has their own ways of, you know, working through things, coping, working better at it. So everyone's story in this room and in general is going to be their own different kind of puzzle set. We're going to fill in the pieces here and there and see how is this going to work, how can I do this, and just go from there. That's really all I can really recommend in that regard.
I think it's
Do we have any other questions? Yes.
So, considering that you have dyslexia, as a high school student, was it frustrating that you wanted to get a certain thing done, but that you didn't have the ability to do it by, what is it called? Auditory way? Like maybe, I mean, I don't have dyslexia, but I know so many people that do, and so many people that feel that auditory learning is better for them.
That's a phenomenal question, and yes, that is very true because I definitely did that. Because like when I got textbooks, for example, I would like literally get a downloaded copy and like listen to the textbook because part of my dyslexia is I can read something, but I can't process if I'm very new to it what I just read. So it takes me multiple times of reading through it to literally get the content of what I was reading about. And listening through audio was a massive help in that step. So that really helped me get through a lot of my academic career stuff. Great question. Back row, yes.
When and how long did it take you to find out that you were dyslexic?
That's another great question. So when I was in preschool at the age of 3, I was at a small Quaker school near my house, and there were definitely signs where I had problems socializing with my peers. Reading was another problem that really appeared, so we had those early signs, and then once that happened, I got more testing done professionally, and then from there, that's kind of like where we knew that I had dyslexia. We started working on strategies and ways to, you know, get better, and it was very beneficial. Thank you. Yes, back to you.
What's your favorite NBA team so far?
So, for those of you who know the DC area, we have the Washington Wizards. They are my favorite basketball team, but they are a struggle to root for various reasons. I'll leave it at that. Yes.
Did you ever wish, like in your school, in the school you went to, like, did you ever, like, your classmates were, like, doing things faster, or, I don't know how to explain it, like, you wish you could, like, do it like them or something?
Can you say it again? I'm sorry.
Like, did you, when you, were in your school, did you ever, like, wish you could, like, if your, like, classmates were doing something faster than you did, you wish you could do it like that?
Oh, sure. So what she's asking is, what are the times that I feel like my peers would be doing things at a faster rate, where they were learning more? And yes, there were plenty of times, especially when it came to testing quizzes, where I felt like if a classmate online was getting their test or quiz done very fast, I thought they were very knowledgeable, and a lot of times they were. It's not like, there's times where if you rush or something, you'll make mistakes, but I always thought when I was younger, if I was not getting my test done in a very fast manner, I didn't know what I was doing, which was in a way also kind of wrong. And it's like, you can take your time, get it right, and still be on the good end of it. I was always like, oh man, if this person's first, they probably know what they're doing, cool. But like that's where I was like really frustrated and maybe jealous at times, but otherwise, I came to learn it's like it's not as important to be the first one done, like, you know, when you're at the tortoise and the hare story. So, good question. Any other questions? Yes.
I got one more, sorry.
No, you're good.
Socially, after like you graduated high school, went up to college, now you're out bachelor's and then a master's. How hard was it like meet people and live on your own?
I'll say this, I was very fortunate where, so for me, I'm an introvert extrovert, so I'm very quiet when I'm on my own, but like, once I get to know you, I can be very talkative and know you more, so I branch out more that way. Being at Shepherd's another small school, there's a lot of people like that, so I got to be like, mentor, like, I met my friends at the very beginning, they kind of branched out doing opportunities like with the football team, radio stuff, other classes, so for me, it was more of like, slowly putting it together socially, here and there, and like learning who my friends were, who were gonna be there with me the entire time. Value system is very important too, who like sees the same things that I do in a way, or even if I can disagree with you, it's fine too, we can still be friends. So I think socially that's how it really came about to me, and learn different perspectives. It was very valuable in that regard too, so I hope that answers my question. Anyone else have any other questions? Thank you all again for inviting me. I really enjoyed being here. I'll be here for a little bit longer, so you want to ask me a little more, like one-on-one, that's fine too, but thank you all for inviting me. I really enjoyed it.
All right, have a seat, Adam.